Hello!
Hey guys!
We are Joe and Liisu, and for the past 3 weeks we have been driving around Iraq in our yellow van.
In these 3 weeks we've done the usual tourist things. You know, getting scammed at the market, feeling the earth shakes when bombs land near us. Not sure if you guys heard it, but another bang, and this one we felt like a shake. But there has also been things that are even more unexpected. For example, the fact that millions of Iraqis love Americans. Hello!
Hello! And during this video we're gonna share with you 7 things that have shocked us the most. And if you've only seen Iraq from the news, then I can guarantee you there will be a lot of things here that will shock you as well.
So let's go ahead and move on to the first thing. The nature.
Come to Iraq, they said. It will be hot, they said.
It will be desert, they said.
About 95% of the people, when you say Iraq, they think of desert. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of desert.
But although we've seen a little bit of this desert here in the northern part, in Iraqi Kurdistan, then more than this, there are waterfalls. There are canyons. There are rivers. There's a lot of greenery that we really didn't expect. We really thought it to be just a big barren landscape.
So the nature has been so much more than we expected. Instead of this barren land, there is diversity. There's so much more. But let's move on to something funny.
So the second and quite funny thing on a list is in fact one of the most popular sites for the locals to see. And this popular tourist site
Is us.
is us.
Which is unexpected for us, because we are here as tourists. It's so new for us and we want to see stuff and experience it all. And there's a lot of people in the street saying just picture, picture, picture. Even though we don't speak a common language or anything, then pictures and social media is sort of like a common thing. And a lot of people use Snapchat.
And it happens every day.
I don't know what happened. I don't know where I got myself into.
I understand that it's so new for them that they want to take a picture with us because they don't get a lot of tourists. But more than this, every evening then they write to us that, can you please send the videos, can you please send the pictures to us? And I just want to say sorry, but we can't. We at the moment are on a limited data plan, and sadly this YouTuber lifestyle doesn't earn us that much money. So we just can't spend 2 gigabytes of data every night. And I also want to quickly say thank you to our patrons, because you are the ones supporting our travels. And it's just an amazing feeling to know that you are behind us, whatever happens. We're thankful to have you in our little travel family. But now, let's keep on talking about the topic of tourism.
The number 3 is about the tourist attractions that we want to visit. And the surprising thing is there is no infrastructure like we're used to in Europe.
It's quite crazy because there's so important places. For example, cave where Neanderthals used to live, or a 3,000-year-old castle on top of the mountain. And there's no roads, no paths. Usually we have to go like on a mountain track to get there. I'm quite sure that we're following the routes of mountain goats. It's weird that so important places are just there. Mountain goats.
But that might be because there's very little tourists here. Even though the most important sites have security guards and big parking lots that are there 24/7, we have been the only ones. And the entrances have been free.
And sadly there's not a lot of information either. We've seen like 5 places that are simply closed. It's raining and everybody just has not opened their doors. So we came all the way here. One tourist attraction, or like that's supposed to be one of the most beautiful valleys in whole Iraq, was gone. Like, how can a valley disappear? But over there, those water pipes that have sucked in the river, and the river valley itself was dry. So just the attraction, the valley, gone. I think I hear water. So it's quite weird with the tourist places and tourist infrastructure, because there's not a lot of tourists.
I guess, as you said, there's nothing certain in this part of the world.
But before we start talking more about Iraqi people and also why some of them really love Americans, we have one more shocking point that we want to share with you.
The fourth thing is how the society works. There's no taxes and no credit cards.
It's pretty incredible how the whole thing runs on cash.
This is 400 euros.
It doesn't matter if you go in to the markets. It doesn't matter if you get paid for the work you do, or even if you want to buy a house, you just bring a suitcase of cash.
I feel like I have an illegal business somewhere. That's why I have so much cash. And if there is only cash, that means that there is no taxes. We have met one person that had paid taxes, and it was 2 to 3%.
He said 2 to 3. He said he doesn't actually know because the sum is so small. But how is it possible that a country doesn't have taxes?
It means that it must get their money from somewhere else, and in the case of Iraq, it comes from oil.
Yeah, that's what happens if you sit on a pile of oil, pretty much, and that's where the government money comes from inside the ground, and then it goes into cars, planes, and everywhere else. They're quite lucky that way. Alrighty, and we have 3 more things to talk about, and all of those last things are about Iraqi people.
So before we came here, we expected terrorism and scamming and all of those things, but let me tell you a story that illustrates it the best. We were parked up next to a river, and it was really, really, really rainy. And we were working in our van. And there was a local guy that came next to our van, then was surprised that there was somebody inside living there, and just gave us a little bit of green stuff. We didn't speak a common language, didn't want any pictures. He was like, thank you, and we were like, thank you, and he left. But a day later, he came back. He had even a bigger bag of greens and 20 pomegranates in it. He just gave us the bag again and left again. We were surprised and super, super thankful. And later the same day, he was back with some rice and beans and meat. Again, he said nothing, we couldn't understand what language he actually spoke. He gave us the food and left again.
He just wanted to make us feel welcome, and he succeeded. It was amazing. And it's not the one-time thing. It has happened almost 10 times by now that we go to a place and they say that they don't accept our money. Like, you go to a restaurant and they're like, they said we're their guests, they didn't accept our money. Just incredible kindness again. He did not accept our money. It is crazy. And not only restaurants and such places, just on a street, people ask us to come in, to have tea with them, and everybody just wants to take pictures with us, wants to do gifts for us. We feel like we belong here. We feel like they want us to be here. And as tourists, it's an amazing feeling.
It feels like we want to give back as well, because if you're kind to the world, the kindness will come back.
But now let's move on to the 6th thing on the list. And this thing is Iraqi religion.
Of course, before we came to Iraq, we thought about it as a Muslim country. And with Muslim countries, you have the image in your head that women have to cover up, it's very conservative, and that you can't have any other religions, and that's it.
But the thing is that if you think about the location of Iraq, it's the cradle of human civilization, Mesopotamia, and all of our big religions originate from here. So it came as a surprise to us that they are still here. For example, some of the oldest Christian monasteries and Christian communities still are here in Iraq. And there's not only Christians, but also Yazidi that are neither Muslim or Christian. And even the rules that apply for Muslims themselves are not as strict as we expected. For example, alcohol is allowed in Iraq, and women don't have to cover their hair and their face by law.
So all in all, the religion isn't as strict as we expected. Yes, there is some pressure from the families, but there isn't only one religion allowed. And last but not least, let's move on to the topic of why millions of Iraqi people love Americans.
So most of you probably know that about 20 years ago, US Army decided to come for a sunny holiday here in Iraq. And it might sound shocking, but there are about 7 million people who loved it.
You'd have to understand that at the moment we are in Iraqi Kurdistan, which is only the northern part of Iraq. And they were oppressed by the previous regime by Saddam Hussein.
And with the fall of Saddam Hussein, the genocide of Kurds finally ended. So those 7 million people who live in Iraqi Kurdistan, the autonomous region they have now, see USA as liberators. Because after USA, first time in like 1,000 years, Kurds had an opportunity to have their own autonomous region, and now they can decide for themselves. They can make their own laws.
But Kurdistan is not the country by itself. It's still parts of Iraq. And Iraq has 40 million people, so 7 million out of those 40 million, and it is only a small fraction of the population. The other part of Iraq has quite a different perspective on the matter.
Friends, these were the 7 most shocking things about Iraq for us. And you might have realized that we haven't talked about one huge topic that everybody wants to know about. And this topic is safety. Why didn't we talk about it?
Because it's such a huge topic that we are gonna dedicate a whole video to the safety in Iraq.
Next time we'll tell you more about the bombs that fell down next to us, about checkpoints, and how we've been stopped like 20 times by guys with big guns. Just gonna get us both killed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new from this video, because for us those 3 weeks, they've been like a stereotype breakers. Like every day we learn something new.
What was the most surprising thing for you about Iraq?
Leave the answer down in the comments, and we will see you next time. Thanks guys for being here with us, and bye.
Bye!